Welcome to episode number 2. Although number 2 might go up before number 1 because of the level of importance.
Am I number 2?
No, well today, yes, but only because Fwiz didn't want to wait until tomorrow. So chronologically, we might have podcast number 2 go live first.
Well, better. I mean,
I agree.
Fwiz,
100%. Yeah,
Fwiz.
Yeah, they had a pretty good announcement today.
It was good.
On gaming. Vaughn.
Yes, sir. Good to see you.
Good to see you, man.
It's been a while.
I just told the Optic podcast the story about how our first interaction and how you're so alpha male that when I said, I'm like, hey, excuse me. I'm like, who are you? And then you're like, I'm David Vonderhaar. Not like that. No. But really? you were very alpha. Yeah, it was at the Inside Gaming Awards. And it had just come off the back of somebody
best controls, best multiplayer. I still have those.
Yeah. Do you? Those awards?
Yeah, that was a fun night for me.
Do you remember your first ever event spectating the Black Ops 1? It was Black Ops 1. And
Jay took me.
No, it was me that took you, first of all.
And Jay.
Yeah. Jay was there too.
Well, I mean, I would have gone. I mean, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you remember cheering for animation instead of the play?
Wow, some things will never be forgotten, will they?
No, they won't.
Yeah, thanks a lot. That was deeply buried
into
oblivion.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna bring it back. I always bring it. I reminisce a lot, and especially good times, man. Let's get started because I know you're a busy man. I don't know what keeps you so busy nowadays, anyway, but I guess you are. Who are you today?
Compared to when?
Who are you today? As where we stand, where we sit. What do you do? Who are you?
I'm David Vonderhaar, studio design director at Treyarch, and we make first-person video games and put them on the internet.
That's a little Hutch reference. I appreciate that. Who were you when you started?
Oh, man. I was a guy who had gone to got a fine arts, electronic media, dropped out of computer science, moved to Chicago from Cincinnati, Ohio. I know. Yeah.
You're from Ohio?
Yeah.
Did not know that.
Cincinnati, Ohio. The internet thinks I'm from Phoenix or something. I don't know.
That's crazy, man.
And I had a good job. It's the .com days, right? Lots of internet money.
Yeah.
And I was just playing video games when I wasn't working, and had a band that fell apart. That was pretty fun.
What instrument that you play?
Drums and keyboards.
Drums and keyboards, and now you DJ.
Well,
do you still DJ?
No.
At all? Like no?
Yes.
Okay, so you do just
production. I like to mess around. How's that? I have a small home studio set up that's pretty decent.
That's good. Not a lot of
making.
Has anyone ever asked you what your favorite game is? I mean, outside of like the people that you interact with on a daily basis.
My favorite game.
That you didn't make
of all time.
That you did not make.
That I did not make of all time.
Yeah.
So this is gonna be hard.
Well, you're wearing an Atari shirt, so I'm gonna be 2600.
No. It was probably MechWarrior 2 was an Activision game that I was really kind of instrumental to my career. And then Quake, like the original Quake, DM6 all the way, baby.
Yeah.
DM6. Yeah, Quake was a big influence. Those two games, Quake and MechWarrior 2 those are tough to pick between because without either, I'm not sitting here.
Yeah, so those are the two games that inspired you to to be here?
For sure. I mean, MechWarrior 2 was probably what led me to an interview at Activision in the first place. It's 1996-ish.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a long time ago. Most of you were not even born.
I'm 38. I know I don't look it, but yeah, I am about to hit 40.
Look a day over 38.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I'll take that take that with a grain of salt, literal salt, because
Yeah, I know you're salty.
No, I'm not. I'm tasty, as I like to say it. If you weren't doing what you're doing right now, what would be your other job?
So that's changed. That question, the answer for that question has changed over a 20-year career. Right now I'd probably be on a race crew, maybe changing somebody race car driver tire or something, right? Like just traveling and racing cars but at the time I wanted to be a musician. I had a band. I wanted to be a producer, a music producer. I mean, not like the producers like today, not like the producers 20 years ago that sit only behind the desk. So that was I went to fine arts college, or maybe an architect.
Architectural, yeah.
Potentially.
In the game, in the Black Ops 2 map where the bar is, there's like a nightclub. It's nighttime. Is that your song in there?
No, you're talking about I'ma Try It Out. I think that's what you're thinking of. That's Alvin Risk and Skrillex.
Okay,
who did I'm gonna try it out.
Yeah. So that's not you. For the longest time, I'm like, you know what?
Yeah, that was me. I mean, I certainly
he's-
have the production capabilities of both Skrillex and Alvin Risk.
All in one.
Yeah, all
And
in
well, I thought it from a more simplistic way of you saying, you know what, I want to be a best-selling, musician. What better way to sneak it into the
No, they bring the professionals.
the best-selling piece of
No,
entertainment
my
ever.
SoundCloud's on lockdown, boys. That'll never.
That'll never see the light.
I make special things for special people.
Okay.
Only.
Do you have a song that you can give us for the intro to this podcast and the outro?
Absolutely freaking not.
So no, you don't.
No
Okay,
way.
so we'll keep it to
I
the same one.
couldn't do it anyway. It's probably some kind of weird legal thing. I don't know.
Okay. As an artist, and I always get in trouble for this with the fans mostly and the critics because the fans are the critics. Like the 13 people that don't like when I say this, I defend developers a lot when it comes to esports and competition because you guys set out to make a video game, a piece of art, right? You never expected this thing to become a spectator sport, to become that. And if we take it, a little bit further, you create a piece of art, where your canvas is this sort of, universe where you create the laws and the physics and the rules and all of that. As a graffiti artist, I would never allow anybody that isn't my peer, criticize or sort of, try to engage or tell me how to do it better. With you, however, you're inviting the populace to join your installation in a sense. Yeah. Does it bother you from an artistic standpoint when people have criticisms?
No, I mean, look, it's interactive entertainment. It's a video game. It doesn't exist without the fans in the first place.
Yeah.
I've certainly internalized things. I've certainly made them personal, and when they aren't or shouldn't be. I've certainly gone through that whole routine. I'm jealous of graffiti artists. I'm jealous of musicians because they don't have to depend on anyone else to create the art that they create. They're solo operators, right? It takes hundreds of people to make the game. It takes hundreds of people to publish it, to market it. Right? It is a massive, massive machine. And if you do take those things personally or you do internalize them, you'll just drive yourself crazy. And I did. There's many times where I'm like, this is, just sort of, but it doesn't belong to me, right? It belongs to everybody. It belongs to everybody who works on it. It belongs to you. It belongs to competitive players. And I think I've kind of, I'm 46. I've grown up with it, right? So I'm fortunate that I've had that opportunity to kind of live through a popular game getting increasingly more popular and then being able to mature along the way where I just don't take that stuff as personally as I used to. I don't get offended when you don't like something, and I try to listen, and I think all of us here at Treyarch try to pay attention, like what are they really saying? And sometimes they're 100% right, and sometimes they're 100% wrong.
Yeah.
So not anymore. I don't.
No, right? But you did at some
And then
point.
I have other hobbies. I have other hobbies where the only thing that keeps me that allow my success is predicated purely on myself, like tracking a car.
Yeah.
No, like I either go faster because I drove better, or I go slower because I didn't, and I can't blame anyone else, or no one else can get involved. It's only me. Same thing with music production. Same thing with being a graffiti artist. Yeah. It's so that's how you deal with those things. Is that you have other things in your life that balance out the crazy chaos of trying to operate a 300-person plus studio and the business side and all the things that go along with making a Call of Duty game.
All right, I want to ask you about your racing, but did you ever expect the artwork that you were creating to become a spectator sport? Were you resistant at the beginning of it? Were you like, why is there such a level of competition, and why is there hundreds of thousands of people wanted to watch it?
Look, you were there, right?
Yeah.
It was a pivotal moment for me. I didn't understand it at all. Like, there's this thing that's happening, and like, you got to come see this thing. And when we went to MLG Anaheim, and I sat in the audience, and I watched people cheer for the game, and I watched people cheer for the players, and I'm like, oh, this was like a moment for me.
Yeah.
And now making it fun to watch is a priority for us. It is a pillar of Black Ops 4, of this game, right? And we talk about how to do that, and we think about how to do that well, right? And we actually have made it so important that it's just as important as the level of competition and making sure that both of those the agendas get advanced. Because you can take the competition agenda and you can press it forward and you'll make a lot of competitive players really happy.
Yeah.
But you'll leave all the viewers behind.
Correct.
And you will not have the success that you need both to be successful. A very competitively intense sport that has no one paying attention to it will not be a successful sport. It'll just be competitive, right? And you need both to be successful. So I've started with the competitive side, like how do we make this more competitive? And then along the way, I realized we have to press both agendas. All of us, I shouldn't say just me, that's not right. All of us were thinking about how to push the agenda both forward, right? Which is how you get to things like 5-on-5 this year and things like that.
The 5-on-5 thing was, I when I heard the rumor, I'm like, oh my God, I've been thinking about this for like a long time. And I would have been fine either way, whether it's stayed in 4v4, but I do appreciate the fact that we're trying to make it more similar, like what you play as a casual player, you're seeing from a competitive standpoint. You see the reflection of one of your, moments where you shine the way that you did with your teammates by watching players do that on a regular, professional players do it on a regular basis. I accredit a lot of the success from a competitive standpoint to you introducing kill streaks to Black Ops 2. Remember how the community was just up in arms and they're like, we don't want that. That's not competitive Call of Duty. Kill streaks is for the casual gamer and that. And you said, no, there's a place for this here. And, Hardpoint, think about that. Think about where Call of Duty would be right now if you didn't, not you, but, the whole thing wasn't pushed on. It's like, play this. Yeah. Give it a chance at least.
We've been walking real slow there, right? I mean, we've not rushed that. It's been a multi-game journey. Right, we start off with, okay, let's build all of the custom game settings so that players can play the way they want. Then we say, okay, let's introduce the competitive thing with Arena or League Play, and then League Play and Arena, and now League Play Arena and the CWL. I mean, we've seen its growth. We've seen the merger of the two worlds, right? And I understand. I understand the resistance to some of those changes. Right, change is hard, but we're leaders, and leaders champion change, and pro players are leaders, and team owners are leaders, and the league are leaders, and you have to lead people to a place where you get kind of the big crowds, the big audience, the big fan base, and that's because every guy at home, right, wants to be Scump, right? And if Scump plays a way that some other guy doesn't play because he does something completely different, you're never going to get there. And I've been saying that for years, and you know that.
Everybody wants to be Scump except for your developer. He
was so proud, man.
I would have been too.
John Albal, Fetwolf, he just couldn't wait to send me the clip, and I couldn't wait to share it with him.
Yeah.
And anytime you could get a leg up on Scump,
anyone,
that would get him to call you a kid. That was just like so funny.
I think kid is, yeah, I think kid's just what you call somebody.
No, but that's what makes it funny.
Oh man, I was when I saw it and when I saw your reply, I was like, oh my God, I have to.
I get a chance to put an optic player on blast. I'm going to do it.
Oh, absolutely. So back to your hobbies. I mean, obviously we know that you create music, and obviously video games is an art. So that the one thing that surprised me was that I opened up Instagram and I was browsing through it, and I see a story of you in your racing suit, in the fire suit. And you're talking about tracks and you're talking about times, and I'm like, wait, so I've known you since 2011.
Yeah, it's newer. It's a newer hobby. Yeah, it's a newer hobby.
So tell me about it. What, how, when, and why?
And there's some guys in the building who are really into racing and tracking, and they invited me, and I'm like, oh, I gotta go check this out. And I have a very binary personality, so it's like very 0 and 1 on these things. It's like I kind of get consumed by that kind of stuff. So it's like, oh man, it's something about the precision, right? This sort of microsecond decision making, and that's no different than players who play FPS games and the twitch nature of that. If you make the wrong call in a split second, you're dust, right? And there's something about racing that's similar to that, where the skill gap between the guys who are racing around with you and you is not that far apart, and it's just competitive, right? It's like you get a car in similar classes, and it's like first-person competitive gaming in a way.
What are you driving? Like what are you racing? Not driving.
Yeah.
Are you free to say?
Oh, I mean, it's sure, but I don't know. It seems like I have a very nice car that
you race.
No, you drive. I'm
not talking about the multiple Ferraris and Lamborghinis.
No, I don't have either of those two things. I'm a Porsche guy.
Okay.
But the race we were doing was a Mazda track race car, an MX-7 or DX. RX-7, which is a car that's very popular on that circuit, right? So it's interesting, right? Racing is not necessarily about speed. Racing is about the precision of the driving of the horsepower that you have.
Yeah.
And you can race in slow class cars, and it's super funly competitive, even at the amateur level that we're dealing with.
So you get along with Crimsix very well because he's a Porsche guy as well, and
Is he?
he loves the races and tracking.
Yeah.
Adam Carolla, a guy that I listen to on a podcast. Have you heard of him?
I know Adam.
Carolla?
I mean, I don't know Adam. I know who he is.
Yeah, from Loveline.
Yeah, LA, man. He's a LA guy.
Yeah, he races nonstop. So racing, it's like when I just knowing you for as long as I have, as you know, as someone can know somebody who interact as
Internet pals.
Yeah. I was super surprised, and I'm like, man, I totally could see him in there. I
can't wait to get back. My car's put away in storage right now because we're too busy. It's sitting up on a lift. I want to get it down and go.
You saying that
brings my soul alive.
Yeah.
To get out there.
How fast have you gone?
The top speed that I think I had in the GT3 was about 160.
No, you didn't. That's
not on the track though. That was a straight.
That's you flip it, right? What happens? Can you roll a Porsche?
No, it's pretty hard to roll that.
At 160, I think you could do it though.
Well,
let's not try it. But
no,
the fastest I've ever gone in any car, and it's obviously in a legal track, was like 105 in my life. 38 years old.
That's nothing. You got cornering it with the 130. Yeah.
You can corner with 100. I don't.
At the right corners.
I don't know. How fast have you guys gone? Let us know.
It's not about speed.
It's not about speed. It's about the precision of how you maneuver the horsepower.
And right, shifting the weight of the car.
I can't drive stick, man. It's not for me.
This podcast is over.
Yeah. Okay. No,
I can't drive a stick.
I know. I can't. Not only that, but I lived in Mexico until I was 13 years old and son, but say my dad never taught me. So you met my dad. Maybe you should have a conversation with him as to why. Also ask him why he never got my brother braces. Okay, so your car's in the shop. You don't have enough time. Now that Black Ops, well, it's not done yet, right? And it'll never be done like the way the fashion is on.
It'll never be done.
It's a moving thing. So how long did it take one to create Black Ops 4? Obviously, we're on a 3-year cycle now, right?
Yeah.
Do you start working on the new one right away? Do you know what it is?
Yeah. So, how long does it take to make one of these games? It takes 3 years, and then there's more work than 3 actual years because of some of the time that you'll put into a game like this. But you start, when do you start? That's like it's a pretty subjective measurement. Like I had a lightweight conversation, a hallway conversation about where we might go or how we might configure the team, right? But does that mean we're starting on the next one, right? No code's been written. There's no design, right? We're trying to get to the ship date.
Yeah.
Right. And get to the ship date, then there's still, multiple years to follow. So it's a rolling schedule. So it's like, at which of these dates do you say you started on the next one? Is it the very first conversation you had? What if nothing happens for 3 months after your first conversation, right? It's a very difficult question to answer, but so 2.5, right, would be a good average or good start, if you want to be optimistic about when your start date is.
Yeah.
But we'll be making Black Ops 4 stuff, all the way into next year and beyond, like we did with Black Ops 3.
Yeah. Oh, man, it was still like one of the top played. Yeah. Which is insane. I had a lot of fun with it. It was, for me, Old Man of Optic is like my pastime, and the fact that we got to play a lot of.
I should be on a Blackout Old Man. I mean, if there was ever an Old Man of Optic, it's me.
Yeah, I mean,
but you don't invite me.
Would you play with us? I mean, I'm very limited in the times that I text you, like for this specific thing, and because I know you're busy.
I am like prime for Old Man of. If there was ever a thing that I belong to, it's the Old Man of Optic. Have you seen me?
Yeah. You look like Hutch. I think you have more hair than Hutch.
Also an Old Man of Optic. For sure.
I have to ask, obviously.
I miss that guy. Hey, Hutch, miss you.
Do you know what the next one's gonna be?
What the next what?
Your next Call of Duty.
Dude.
All right, I want to talk about Blackout. Obviously, my new favorite thing in the world.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. In my lifetime, there's only been 2 video games now, but up until Fortnite, there was only one game that has ever pulled me away from Call of Duty, and that was Minecraft. And on Cloud, I used to give you points for Minecraft. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah.
Do you remember that, Cloud?
Oh, right, yeah.
Anyway, so Fortnite was the next one, and it wasn't.
I used to retweet people asking me to fix Minecraft.
Yeah.
That was fun days.
So maybe it was the battle royale, right? And when I played DayZ and I played those games, I'm like, man, imagine. In my head, I imagined what I started with, like Call of Duty 2, Call of Duty 4 stuff. But I always envisioned that there will be, hopefully one day, where battle royale will be a thing for Call of Duty. I did not expect it. I did not expect for a beta to be what it was, because you could.
Let's talk about that. Why? I've heard that before. So you mean just in terms of the quality of the play?
Yeah. Why?
I see.
How is it? If it's,
I see.
We always think that beta is like an unfinished game, but this seemed polished. There was fluidity. There was no stuttering. There was like that attributed to the game. There was nothing that made it a bad experience.
That's very generous. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that we know and learned and witnessed and have spoken to fans about that we have to make better in the beta. I mean, it's a very nice thing to say. It turned out really well, but it's not done. There's a lot to do there. We learned a lot. That's why you do a beta. Mm-hmm. There's calendar time. There is not a lot of time between beta and release date, but in terms of game development time, the amount of learning that you get from such a large, massive dose of people playing will lead to better decision making for the final game. I mean, there's features that are in the game that are not in the beta, and they're not in the beta because they weren't ready. They weren't good enough. They weren't done enough to be in the beta. There's things in the beta that are 90% done. Okay. And there are things in the beta that are 50% done, right? And there are things that are not in the beta because they're only 30% done and they're not usable enough to actually put in the beta. So look, I appreciate that a lot. I think a lot of people worked really hard to try to have the best beta that we could have, but it's not done, and it's going to be better still on September 12th.
Well, I think it's
September 12th.
October 12th.
What did I say? September 12th?
No, please don't.
That's in the past.
Yeah, it's in the past.
October.
Do you?
Let's try that again. October.
Now, everybody knows when it's really. Trust me. Does it feel good that people got mad at you for taking it away? Like that's got to be some a super compliment, right?
It's pretty funny. There's a lot of people going, you have to turn the beta back on. We're not done testing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, we're not either. But you have to turn. So running it, operating it, it's a full-time operation. So if you have the beta running, it's hard to keep working on the game at the same time because a lot of the people that are operating the beta day to day are also needed to finish the game. So it could have ran further for sure. I get all that, but it has to come off so we can actually take the information and actually improve the game. There's only so many people, and actually running a live operations game that's that large every day it takes a lot of resources from the team. So people that are needed to finish the game.
On Monday, the last day of the beta, I was playing, and I had a meeting that I postponed because I thought that I only had X amount of hours left. And then when it got extended, and I heard that it got extended, I figured, we're extended for another 24 hours. I'm like, all right, let's take this meeting. Let's do it real quick. We started talking, and then I get back to my thing.
I'm sorry.
Like, it's not working. Yeah, I was just as upset as everybody else.
Yeah, we were trying to get 100 players to run well, and we didn't feel really great about it until the final day. So we went for it anyway.
Yeah. Do you guys have 100 people here? Do you need me to come back to test it? Because I think it's just a valid question.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. It's not hard to find 100 players anymore who want to play, especially after the beta.
No, it's insane. It felt natural for me to pull up to a helicopter, get in it, and just know what I needed to do to fly it. I'm not a pilot. I've never it's
very accessible vehicles.
Even in other games where I've climbed into vehicles that move, I was just like, it's not my thing. This was like, it's like I was born to be a pilot, man. I wasn't, but it was that good. In terms of the map, and obviously, I gotta ask this question. Is it is it a living and breathing, ever evolving organism that can grow stuff here and there?
Yeah, so it's Blackout is the map, right? So the solution isn't necessarily to make other Blackout maps. I think a reasonable solution is to evolve this one, and there is more plans and more ideas on how to go about that than there are actual people, resources, time to actually execute on. So it is we've said this before, it is a living and breathing organism. That was the exact words that got used. So, of course, not ready to talk about what things happen and what order they happen. I still have things to get in the map, right? Like I'll give you a really small example, right, that we haven't talked about. It's like we weren't totally satisfied with some of the water depths and some of the undertow and flow and the visibility between, right? There's things that we have done from the beta, right, version of the map to this map that will be different. So there'll be things to go figure out, and then we'll go from there.
See, something like that is just something that you guys, that you as an artist could, and the rest of your artists know. You know, for us, it was like, you know, this is the river. That the river is this, and period. And that's when I talk about.
If you don't think I obsess about the depth of the water level in Blackout, then you should talk to the lead level designers in this building who will tell you I obsess about the craziest details.
Yeah, no, I mean, I know, and you know, I remember in Black Ops 1 there was the Beauty of Call of Duty montage by some random creator. Remember that?
Beautiful.
I agree, and it.
Oh gosh, who did that? I remember that video. It was really good.
Yeah, it was really good, and it sort of carries on through the rest of them. Underwater is like very well thought out. If I saw a bass or a pike or something along those lines, I'd identify the fish.
You'd try to want to fish it, wouldn't you?
Yeah, man.
You'd be like, "Where's my fishing pole?"
And it wouldn't surprise me.
Can I have an item that's a fishing pole and I can go fishing on the banks of the Blackout River while people are having?
Now you're speaking my language.
I know. I haven't been fishing in a long time. You should take me out.
Yeah, I'm in Texas now, so I got access to all of the best trophy lakes out there. I didn't know you were from Cincinnati.
Did you move there for the weather?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Only the weather.
Yeah.
Nothing. No external forces around that. No, I was born in Texas, born in El Paso, Texas, and I always knew that I was gonna end up there. I remember. I don't know if you remember this, but I gave you a suggestion, as you know, people that are part of your installation. When the way
part of my installation, I should form a club.
Yeah, when we were talking about the cross pollination between casual players and esports players, obviously, one of the things that I suggested was that maybe if you're platinum in League, you can get like an additional emblem, you know, to this on the side of your 10th prestige or whatever. So a casual person that's a trophy hunter or an achievement hunter can be like, whoa, where'd you get that? How can we, you know, how can I get that? And then they're curious about competitive, and they're like, whoa.
Sure. Yeah. That idea is, that's a simple idea. What you do is you take that idea and you expand upon the spirit of that, and that's why the League Play season this year has multiple types of things to drag people back and forth, right? So the League Play and Arena were both kind of very isolated experiences, and there wasn't kind of a friendly competition format. So in Black Ops 4, you know, you have the sort of the core experience, which are just doing the Pro Series, playing Pro Series roles, effectively types of scrims, which you're being ranked against. But then you've got the League Play, which is the sort of the latter format that you might remember from Black Ops 2. And you have Arena in the style of gauntlets, which are like, hey, just get 3 wins before you get 2 losses kind of style, which is very accessible. So your idea there, right, if you want to get people to kind of understand the world, you have to go big. You have to go really big with that idea. And I feel like this season on the competition front, especially, you know, the COD World League's inaugural season, you know, with the Black Ops 3 and then back again now here. I mean, if you have things, and I've been trying to figure this out for a long time. All of us have been trying to sort out, how do we kind of get people to cross-pollinate? And the answer is this game, right? You take the core game, the Pro Series stuff that the COD, you know, guys who would do MLG game battle style stuff would like, and you make sure that's there. That's the core. And then you foundation at the events. We've had great success driving engagement around activities, events, right? So, hey, this weekend, here is a way to experience those Pro Series rules, be rewarded for it, and you know, you're not going to have to try to beat the top 10 players in the world to feel like you won in your competition series, which is the Gauntlet. So we just put out all this information on the CWL. Check it out and what we've got planned here. So those kinds of ideas, how to get these 2 worlds, this game is about that.
Good.
It's about that.
I will thank you
on the MP front.
I appreciate you taking the time to do this, man. I understand like how busy you are. Thank you. I have one more question, and it's a personal question.
Sure.
The map Carrington. Right?
Oh gosh, here we go.
It's crazy to me because it's not even. And I
Googled you're gonna talk to me about 2 lands. Go ahead. I'm ready.
So. I consider myself, or my spirit animal is the broken piano in the street of Carrington, okay, for Call of Duty 2. So when it came back as Chinatown, and then when it was an infection, why is it the Call of Duty, why is it the now in World War II, Carrington, what is it about Carrington that keeps on coming back?
What do you want? What do you want from me?
I don't know. What is it? Why not to Jane?
Yeah, exactly.
The better map.
That's what you want from me. Why is that the better map?
It plays better. That's where the better headquarters, the better capture the flag, and the better TDM was played during Call of Duty 2 in the much simpler times.
Make some calls real quick. Make sure that we get that done for you.
No, it was more of an action of a question. I have one community question, and then we should be good. Unless you can do two, one from a pro player and one from an aspiring graphics. So do we have time, Callie? Yes, we do. Okay, perfect. Which is good. Good thing I prepared.
Can we get Allie to say, "I have no part in this, man"?
That's already been done.
Yeah. Okay.
What you guys look for when hiring a...
All right, let me start. Let me tell you. This guy is Jacob D.
I'm graduating college this coming spring with a game design degree. And Vaughn, I was kind of wondering what you guys look for when hiring a game designer.
Great question. I love this question. A great resume, a great portfolio of work.
Okay.
Right? So we talk about art and artists and the relationship between artistic endeavor and game development. Make something. Make many, many things. Put them in your portfolio. Put them in your resume. Right. For a game designer, I like two things. I like guys and gals with professional level design, education background, experience. Not necessarily professional work. That's great too.
Yep.
Right. But everybody in this building who's in a sort of a leadership position has come from within for the most part. Right. Mm-hmm. It's like they were born up, raised, and grown up in this building. Right. That's true across the management team of Treyarch for sure. The thing that I love about from new hires is, let's say you're an industrial designer, you're an architect, right? You have a graphics art, right? Whatever. Professional level design training, because the philosophy of design, the spirit of design, the design part of it doesn't need to come from games. Design is not, it's the art of problem solving. It's not, I like to make video games, right? Okay. So professional level architects, they're trying to make something beautiful, but it also has to be functional. It has to work with building codes and certain materials, right? That's all true in game making. Substitute building materials for a particular code base or specific graphic engine limitations or whatever. That experience is super key. So if you have a graphic arts, architecture, industrial design, any kind of professional design, right? Then you have the training to be a good designer. You now need to take that core experience of being a designer and the experience of being a designer, and you have to also have a great resume, a great portfolio, a great body of work of the things that you've done, mm-hmm. right? So I made this. I took this engine, I did these things with it, and now I have this other thing. Those two things are what I look for. Some of the best, most experienced, highest qualified people on my team are like they're architects, right? Yeah. They're by training, right? You combine that with the passion for game making and a great portfolio, and you're going to be very successful, at least on this design team.
In this day and age, obviously, you have access to all these programs for free.
Download them, get them.
Do you have to go to school? Is what I'm saying. Do you have to go to school, or can they create something? Because people are natural.
No, there's plenty of people here that didn't. Right? They're so naturally talented, and they're trainable on the other stuff. Right? But a good solid foundation. Make no mistake, a good solid educational foundation about design discipline, the art of design. Right? Design is not. It's not what people think it is. I think a lot of people think that design is we sit around and we have all the ideas. Yeah. It's, in fact, it could not be more inaccurate, right? The designers are responsible for making the ideas actually practical and usable and workable and good. Ideas come from the entire group, right? The game is, you see in the credits, the last game we made, first thing you see, designed by Treyarch in Santa Monica, mm-hmm. right? The designers don't design the game. The studio designs the game. The designer's role in that is to take all that, dial out all the edge cases, use cases, make sure everything about that idea works with other ideas in the game. And that's what design is, right? And then you also need high creativity, and you also need high motivation, and you also need to have a good artistic sensibilities, right? So design is not about just having ideas, right? Don't come to me with ideas. I have 1,000 ideas.
It's the execution of said ideas. I agree 100%. All right. Face attached.
Yes.
Dylan, you know the homie.
What's up, Face? Come
on, man.
What's good, Hector? What is good, Lord Vonderhaar? How are you doing? And I was wondering, I have a question about Blackout. I was wondering, are there going to be map changes throughout the season? Is there going to be like a Christmas theme map? Is there going to be custom skins that we could purchase and stuff? I don't know if you can release that intel, but I really want to know, and I really hope there is.
Dylan, thanks, man. Again, I want to get the game in your hands, and then we'll show you where we go from there. I mean, I looked at the plans for at least one idea that we really like 2 days ago that I'm very excited about. But today is not about tomorrow, or what's after tomorrow. Today is about October 12th, and making sure the map is in great shape, runs well, plays well, and then we'll sort of take you on the journey that we have in our brains.
Yeah.
And we'll probably talk about that journey certainly after we get the game in your hands officially.
Well, man, thank you so much. I'm excited. Obviously, I don't know if you can tell. I'll probably stick around for another hour while you're gone, and I'll play a little Blackout just to get that fixed. Actually, the servers aren't even up, right? I couldn't even play it if I wanted to.
Not in the retail environment, but I know some people. I know some people.
All right, Vaughn. Thank you,
good
man.
to see you.
I appreciate you. Thank you so much for making it. Everybody, thank you for tuning in. This is obviously going to be broadcasted on iTunes, Google Podcasts, SoundCloud, and Anchor.
You're kind of a big deal.
Yeah, I'm a big deal sometimes when I try to be. Yeah. Thank you again, man. I appreciate it.
Thank
truly.
you. Good to see you, man.
We'll see you guys on the next one. Thank you very much. Y muchas gracias.
Muchas gracias. No más.